Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for this opportunity. I'm very pleased to be here, invited by Dr. Vimal, and it's a good gathering, you know. This is the second IIT exposure, having done first in November last year in Delhi. So it's always good, you know, to interact with people, you know, working on climate change aspect. So it's a great opportunity for me. Well, I've been working in this area for the past, well, for the past 30 years in the field of medical geography, you know, environmental health perspective. But in this particular field, I'm working since 1995, which led to my publication of first paper in the Lancet on climate change, rainfall pattern, and the outbreak of malaria in western Rajasthan, desert area, which I did with Professor McMichael of London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. Now, since then, I'm concentrating on these aspects of climate change, looking into basically the malaria aspect and other communicable diseases also. Now, yesterday we had good discussion on this particular aspect. There are two things, you know, I would like to clarify. There are skeptics, you know. First category of those are who would not believe that there is any climate change. They say, well, it happens, you know, sometimes there's a temperature increase, sometimes there's a decline in temperature, rainfall increase, a decline in rainfall, but there's nothing like climate change. The other categories who say that climate change is not because of anthropogenic activities, it's because of natural causes, you know. Now, with the discussion which I had yesterday with very scientific papers, clearly proves that there is a climate change occurring, and especially in the last 10 years, 10 to 15 years. At the same time, this climate change is basically because of anthropogenic activities, human activities, and not natural activities. Natural activity might have contributed a little bit, but major contribution comes from human activities. Now, my presentation will reflect some global perspective, my own research on India, in this particular aspect. But I would like to say one thing, which many of you might be aware, that environmental perspective of health is not a new phenomena. We now in the last one decade realizing, well, environment is very important and we must take care of environment. But if we go to the anybody?
Shall I switch on the slides?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
This button is.
Could you please just?
ये वाला click कर.
अच्छा अच्छा.
This one. Bring your cursor.
Yeah. Okay.
And you
No.
move it with that one.
No. Yeah. What we are talking about, that this is a very, very old thinking, dates back to the period of Hippocrates. You know, when Hippocrates wrote this treatise in 5th century BC, airs, water, and places, he emphasized the role of environment, changing environmental conditions, climatic conditions in the context of health. We also found a number of references in these two important documents, Susruta and Charak's 5th century AD. Avicenna, in the Middle East Arab physician, talked a lot about environmental perspective of health in this particular aspect. Now, one of the paragraphs I would like to show it to you from Hippocrates' Airs, Water, and Places. Whoever wishes to investigate medicine properly should proceed thus. In the first place, to consider the seasons of the year. You know, then he talks about water, the hard water and soft water. Then he also refer to the importance of a place. You map out any disease. I'm a geographer basically. If you map out the distribution of any disease, you always find variation. Why this variation occur? Why there's no uniform distribution? Now, Hippocrates told us long time back that this is because of various environmental factors. Now, when we talk of climate change, we heard a lot about the direct and indirect effects. I need not to go into details, but most of these changes, the impacts are negative. There are few, the positive index, say for example, a decline in cold wave mortality in Europe, Western Europe, in America, Northern America, Canada. There might be a little bit decline in mortality, but more or less you'll find more negative impact of this. Some of the areas like northern part of New Zealand, northern part of Canada, they might have extended growing season for agriculture because of warming. But again, in relation to negative impact, these are very, very minor positive things. Now, health includes, when we talk of health, physical, social, and psychological well-being. Population health is the primary goal of sustainable development. Human beings are exposed to climate change through changing weather pattern, more intense and frequent extreme events, indirectly through changes in water, air, and food quality, ecosystem. We will talk more in my later slides that more intense or frequent extreme events. We know about that. We used to have cyclone, impact of cyclone, extreme stormy cyclone on the coast of Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, hurricanes in southern part of America. But now, these days, the intensity of these hurricanes and cyclones have increased. We know about the disaster caused by Katrina in 2005 in Southern America, when the American scientists, Bush scientists, the government scientists who never believed that there's a climate change, in America, Americans have never accepted, even now, the Kyoto Protocol. They say, no, there's no climate change and we don't want to reduce emission unless the developing countries. But after Katrina's disaster in 2005, their own scientists have said no. Because of global warming, the intensity of hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico have increased. It was this realization among the American scientists, and before Katrina disaster in 2005, in 2003, the terrible heat wave in Europe, which never occurred in the history of mankind, in which more than 40,000 people died. This never happened. Nobody can quote any example that's happened in the history, that heat wave resulted in the death of 40,000 people. And I was reading a recent paper by French meteorologist who said, in fact, the total death toll in Europe, Western Europe, was more than 70,000. In 2 weeks' time, in the month of August 2003, more than 70,000 people died. So because of this event of heat wave and the Katrina disaster, it was this event that IPCC, there are skeptics who would not believe the IPCC, but it was because of this, there was a global consensus among the scientists, among the governments, that yes, IPCC conclusions are really relevant and valid. And this has resulted, we know about, that IPCC was recommended for the Nobel Prize. And IPCC and the former vice president of USA shared the Nobel Prize for Peace in 2007. Otherwise, it would not have been possible. Americans would not have suggested or recommended this sort of thing. Now, you have seen this global temperature, which is again 1880 to 2000 and 2004. We always find that both annual average and 5-year average, they are on increase, This is the answer to those skeptics who say, no, there's no increase, there's no climate change. But this is a clear evidence based on data available that there is a rise in temperature. We can also look into this scenario where the northern hemisphere is more vulnerable, where the mean temperature has increased in comparison to most part in the southern hemisphere. Why? Look, this is the scenario in 1980 in India, where you find these patches where there is a temperature anomaly, annual temperature anomaly. We find, in the western part of India, some patches in Odisha, Andhra, and Tamil Nadu coastal area. What is significant that from 90 onward, this heat or the warming is heading towards mountainous area. Some parts of Himachal Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir. And this is very dangerous in the context of health. I'll explain a little later. Again, you find in 1998, the heat or the warming is reflected in most of the mountainous area, even in Ladakh. My own project on the climate change and human health in different rural areas in the country. I've selected Leh district, from Leh district to the western coastal area, Trivandrum district, Goa, Visakhapatnam, Jodhpur, all geographical regions I've selected for this case study, and I found out that in all these regions, even the Leh, which is at about 12,000 feet above sea level, people realize, yeah, there is a impact of climate change. Warming is coming up in this area. And in fact, some of the people, they say that we are having more mosquito-borne problem, not actually malaria, but mosquito-borne diseases in this area because of this warming. We never expected warming during summer in this particular area in Ladakh. So things are really deteriorating. Again, up to 2005 also we have very warming area in this area. Now, this table will show you, the impact of climate change on health. The thermal stress, thermal extreme, the heat and cold wave, increase in weather disaster. We have heard a lot about this, deaths, injuries, psychological disorder in this way. More important is the range activity of various vectors, the altered pattern of vector-borne diseases, diarrheal and other infectious diseases, malnutrition and hunger because of decline in food productivity in the area. And some of the research carried out in Africa, in North Africa, also show that there's a decline in the content of vitamins and other minerals in areas which are affected by warming in these particular areas. So not only the undernourishment, the declining quantity of food, but also the quality of food. So therefore, the people suffer, both from malnutrition as well as undernutrition in low-income countries and in countries which are dependent on the food produced in their own regions. Then, of course, sea level rise is another important. Only yesterday there was a item on the television that the Mumbai is one of the city most vulnerable to sea level rise. They again refer again and again the 2005 flooding in this period. So most of the city, even the eastern coastal area, they are in great danger of sea level rise. Even 1 meter sea level rise because of this melting of snow in Arctic, Antarctic, Greenland may result in the rise of 1 meter rise of sea level, which is enough for drowning the beautiful island of Maldives, Kiribati in Pacific. There are several Pacific islands, which are in great danger. And in fact, one of the islands, I think Kiribati, they are going to purchase land from Fiji, some of the island, for their own population. I mean, there's a great danger, there's no place for any thinking other than, yes, climate change is occurring. I mean, academically, you can always talk about, no, there's no climate change, there's no human activity relationship with that. But fact is, people are worried about. I mean, the population, particularly in poor countries, they are really worried about this particular phenomenon. Research in the last 1 decade has provided new evidence to expand the finding of the third assessment report. Empirical research has further quantified the health effects of heat wave. Heat wave, as I referred to you, the European, in the context of Europe, as well as in India too. In India too, you know, the 1998 year was very severest. The largest number of deaths occur in India, particularly in Odisha, Andhra coastal area, and also few deaths in western part of the country. 2003 heat wave, as I referred to you, the official figure is to say 37,451, but the new research have shown that it's more than 70,000 people died. This was the situation of European heat wave. You look at that in the month of August, so many, the large number of deaths occur. I visited France in 2002, as well as in 2004. In 2004, when I visited France, I talked to many people, to particularly academicians and others. They say people in France never believe that they will face, what they call it in French, canicule, the heat wave. Their health minister was holidaying. This was also the period of holidays, in France, and he was holidaying in mountainous area. When reporters said, "Look, people are dying due to heat wave," he said, "No, we cannot suffer from heat wave." And finally, when the government realized, yes, these so many deaths, the beautiful city of Paris, the most beautiful city in the world, 12,000 people died only in the city of Paris. We have not heard such a tragedy that occurred. And that health minister had to resign, that he could not understood the gravity. One of the important, these were the areas which you can see here, mostly affected, by not the southern part of France, which is more Mediterranean type of climate, but these are the regions mostly affected by the heat wave impact. Now, you see, this pamphlet looks as if you're talking of a poor developing countries, what to do when you are affected by heat wave. You have a fan, you sprinkle your body with water, and also in other pamphlets, they talk about take care of the old people, or the people living alone in this area. Now, these pamphlets are issued since summer of 2004 by each and every municipality in France. They distribute these pamphlets, to make people aware about the danger of this heat wave, and to see to it that people do not suffer in your area. One of the important aspects which many of you might be aware, that in Western Europe, particularly in France, up until 2003, there was hardly any building. Even the palace of President of France does not have any AC or fan. There was no need. When I talk to people, they say, there's no need, there's no requirement of these, but because of this heat wave, now each and every building now is fitted with ACs and fan. So that was the kind of situation. Now you look at this, this was part of my paper published in the Current Science in 2010, that again show that 2003 was the second 2003, this is second largest death due to heat wave occur in India. Of course, the highest was in 1998. So again, I'm trying to work on this particular aspect collecting data from other South Asian countries, whether this 2003 heat wave was part of a global network, and the other countries, what was the situation in other countries, which were affected by this heat wave mortality. Again, 2003 was also the period which my data analysis shows, based on data collected from IMD Pune, that both heat wave and cold wave mortality was the highest, in 2003. Malaria is a very important problem globally, and India and South Asia, special distribution, intensity of transmission, and seasonality of malaria is influenced by climate. Several researchers have shown in South Asia as well as in Africa and Latin America. You look at this, there was a very terrible situation of malaria incidence in India, and there were various programs in collaboration with WHO. So we succeeded in reducing the intensity of malaria. So this is the data from 1961, 76, up to the recent data which I got. What we find, there's a substantial progress has been made. We are very happy about that one particular department has succeeded. But this is a very distressing situation, What happened? The more dangerous malaria, the falciparum malaria, that is on rise. They were not able to control this, As a whole, the PYVX has been controlled, but this is increasing, and which is very, very difficult situation. Now, this particular diagram was based on data collected by Bauma, a researcher at London School of Hygiene, which shows that the increase in mean November temperature resulted in the increased falciparum cases. This is a new phenomena with this. What I have done in my own research, I have tried to collect data for the country as a whole, for India as a whole, from 1961 up to 2010, and see to it what is the situation, what is the relationship between annual percentage of PF cases, Plasmodium falciparum cases, to total malaria cases. And what we found, there is a relationship, There is a significant relationship between the rise of mean temperature as well as between the mean maximum and the rise of PF cases in India. And in fact, some correlation which was made by my assistant, Pearson correlation, we did find some not very strong correlation, but some positive correlation between these two. Now I'm working on a district level, selecting Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, and two western states of Punjab and Gujarat, in order to see what is the situation at district level. But this is one of the serious problem, one of the very serious problem of health we are confronting in this particular area. These are some of the states which are affected, and more important, if you look at this table, find that Odisha, the poverty-stricken areas, Odisha, 87% cases belong to Plasmodium falciparum. On the other hand, the western part of India and the Punjab, Haryana, very small percentage of cases, belong to that. So this is one important area one should try to look into as to why there is an increase in the Plasmodium percentage, which is more dangerous malaria. These are the regions you can see to it. Very high intensity of Plasmodium falciparum cases, percentage to total cases in India, 2003, and the same situation in 2008. Another important aspect is the highland malaria. I'm working on Jammu and Kashmir, starting from the Jammu region, in order to, at block level, to see the temperature rise and the incidence of malaria, because several studies have shown in the latest IPCC report too, they mentioned there is in some cases altitudinal rise of malaria in some of these regions. Freeman and Bradley did a lot of work on this particular aspect. These are some of the other contributions, basically from Lancet, done at London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. These are other contribution in that. Dengue is another, disease. We have heard about this outbreak of dengue mainly from Delhi. We have two, three, mainly from Delhi. The question is as to why Delhi outbreak dengue outbreak occur in Delhi. Why not in other metropolitan areas of Mumbai, Chennai, and Calcutta? My own research and the IMD researcher who in fact computed, they found out that the temperature area, and that is the scenario in Delhi. So whether you empty your cooler with water and other things which the government allows doesn't help anyway, because the whole temperature in Delhi, and Delhi is the place, the more vehicle in Delhi than the total vehicle of all the metropolitan areas together. You can understand the warming level of Delhi in that particular area. Now, one of the important aspects which I would like to mention here in just a couple of minutes I'll take is the process of development in our country. As the government also emphasized that development is the best adaptation method. But the point is, we are obsessed, the Indian politicians, Planning Commission, we are obsessed with GDP. We always talk about GDP, never talk about HDI. That also includes the water and sanitation. India is 135, rank, equal to poorest countries in Africa. We never take care of this. We simply talk, development is the best adaptation, but provide people, accessibility to safe drinking water, accessibility to sanitation, accessibility to education. If we are able to do that, we will be able to minimize the impact of climate change. You look at this figure, 24-hour water availability in some of these cities. So what we find, the Delhi, Dhaka, Kathmandu, and Karachi, these were the cities where only about a small percentage, 3 to 4% of the total population is accessible to safe drinking water. Now, when this is the situation, how can we talk about the adaptation to climate change? Now, since there is a lot of constraint on timing, these were the suggestion of the IPCC, that if this global warming continues, agriculture productivity will be down in 2020 by 2.5 to 10%. 2050, 5 to 30%. One can understand the level of the malnutrition as well as the undernutrition. I will just show the last slides to you, which is very important. This is the economist, Goklani, part of the IPCC. What he said, common to these scenarios is a view that major risks to health will remain unless the poorest countries share in the growth and development experienced by the richer part of the world. And same is true within the country. If we go on developing the metropolitan cities, and there is a stream of migrants coming from different rural areas, smaller urban areas to Delhi. Delhi's population, you see, IPCC also says the most vulnerable people due to climate change will be are the slum dwellers, and the slum population will rise. Mumbai, more than 60% people live in slums. Now in Delhi, more than 40% people live in slums. You can understand the gravity and the terrible situation, and vulnerability is going to rise. GDP will not help. we must focus on HDI, Human Development Index. If we are able to do that, we will be able to combat the impact of climate change on health and other areas. Thank you very much indeed.